This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Baytown, bro. Boy, I from Baytown, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that coming after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. But I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas.
Good night, Bahamas, and welcome to Guardian Radio 969 FM. I am your host, Valentino Braun, a.k.a. Scoochie or Scrooge or Daddy, host of the show that comes on every Friday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. That show name is Inside the Industry. Telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And I just want to say to all the listeners and all the callers, thank you. There are so many people who listen to the show. I'm very, very, very grateful for that. We make a lot of sense. And I'm proud to be able to give my time to help enlighten, solve some problems that we face in the country, and also have some, like I say, some creative ideas. You know, not just talking, but I've also applied it. So I'm not just talking on the radio. You know, I've worked with many agencies, many different governments from around Nassau, Bahamas, and internationally. I've worked with the IDB Bank. Anyone knows that bank, that is one of the biggest fund donors of the Bahamas government, whether it's the PLP or F&M. They help in major projects. They go and get paid, and private consultants get the information, and they do their best to see how they can help the Bahamas government achieve the goals, reducing poverty, housing. You know, they do a lot of positive programs, and they get a lot of insights from a lot of individuals around the country who are contributing to the development of the country. And I had an opportunity for about 2-3 years to sit down with them and give them some ideas on what is needed for Nassau and Providence based on my experience living inside the Grandstand area and doing a lot of programs and projects in the community to better the community. And one of those issues was to tackle crime, and one of those issues I added on that to tackle crime was to get the tourism industry, which is walking distance in my community, to come over the hill so we could have American money in the hands of Bahamian people as long as they're properly trained. And that's a program and project that I'm working on as we speak right now. Slowly but surely, and I'm still healthy and strong, and keep on getting my private partners to sponsor and myself getting my business up and running so I could use my personal money to also assist with the development of the initiative in the Grandstand community. And I worked with them many years and many different organizations over the years, and all of the time working with them, it was always the interest in how we could better the lives of the people, the impoverished people of Nassau and Providence and the Family Island. So today's topic, we're going to talk about the recent flooding, and then we're going to show you the solution to the recent flooding, mainly in the Pinewood Garden. We also have Fort Charlotte. There's a discussion going on to a town hall meeting where former representative of being in the Grandstand the Honorable Travis Robertson was speaking to a forum. I think he was speaking to Dr. Darwell concerning the construction of the hospital and how that interfere with the wells, and the wells are the runoff point for the flooding in that particular part of Fort Charlotte. And it's a major concern about constructing the airport, constructing the hospital, because they're saying that once that is constructed, it would increase the flooding. Okay, and then we're gonna listen to what the former Prime Minister of the Commonwealth, the Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, he gave his contribution in the House of Assembly concerning the recent flooding in his constituency of Killarney. We know that there was speculation of him running to be the leader of the DNA. He shut that down as well as other person of interest. So they shut that down. But Hubert Minnis is still going to run. I don't know if he's going to run as a Free National Movement. He was not elected as a candidate by the opposition leader, Michael Pintard. But the former Prime Minister insists, yes, he's going to run as an independent. But as much as I said some things against the former Prime Minister when it comes to leadership, but when it comes to his work that he does in the community, his connection with the resident of Killarney seems to be very highly respected based on the response that he's getting from many residents of Killarney. So that means that he probably was a good MP. He was not a good prime minister when it comes to the lockdown because we were already frustrated, but he seems to be a good member of parliament. He making some valid points, but the point, before I play the clip, the politicians in our country only respond when there's a disaster that draws the attention of the nation, like the flooding in Pinewood, okay? Or the shooting that left a few persons, shot. We respond, but we've been having these same issues over and over. Just like the Pinewood residents said that they're tired of years of promise. PLB come in, say they're going to deal with the flooding. They don't deal with it. The F&M come in, they say they're going to deal with the flooding. They don't deal with it. But there's a blueprint and there's a plan on how they can put down flood drains and do a drainage system has been there from the inception. I've heard candidate for the Coalition of Independence, my good friend Graham Rutherford, he always talk about how they need to design a drainage. He always talk about they could do the drainage straight in the Seabreeze Canal or something like that, but he always had a creative idea on what they need to do in Pinewood. So we're seeing residents in Pinewood, residents in Fort Charlotte, expressing their concern to town hall meeting. And, persons like Minnis who live in Killarney, he's explaining that in some of the wetlands that are around the airport that was being developed, that was a drain-off point. Now that some of the wetland has been destroyed based on construction, he said that the airport road was never, ever flooded before. Now that they're doing development in these particular areas, he said that the water now is in the road and there's flooding. He said if they don't watch out, that the flooding would go to the airport itself. So we could see flooding at the airport, where the airport could be underwater if we continue some developments around the country. We don't look at the effects of it. I've heard the Honorable Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis talk about climate change, but yet still there are developments going around the country that mess up our mangroves and coral reefs. Cruise ships coming and dropping their lines. They polluting the ocean. There's reports that some residents are being itchy on the beach of some kind of, I don't know what they're saying is in the water around Junkanoo Beach sometimes, smelling this funny scent. So I don't know, some people saying that there could be the emptying of the ballast tanks or sewer systems on a few of the ships, or ships that are passing through that are not cruise ships just open their sewer system and just lets it go in the harbor, and that floats down and goes on the beach. And sometimes you go and you see the fish them jumping over the water. That's because of the allergic reaction of the arsenic inside the salt water. They're jumping because it's acidic. And sometimes when we were younger, swimming along off, we used to be getting itched too, like a deep, foul smell. So there's many things need to be discussed in the country. But I want to play the clip about the former Prime Minister, Hubert Alexander Minnis. And like I said, these guys, they become the prime minister, they're in charge of the Ministry of Health, they're in charge. They have problems and being persistent in their community for many, many years, like the sea wall that they wanted to build in Killarney. But as a member of parliament, as the prime minister, you yourself never had the audacity when you was in power or when you was the minister of health and you became the minister, prime minister of the country. You know the condition that the hospital was in. You still didn't did enough for the persons who respected you, who was your colleagues. You know, you did so much, but you didn't did what you're supposed to do as a doctor. But in your constituency, you're in the House of Assembly now, so you're talking about what needs to happen to Killarney, about the seawall needs to be built. A question needs to be asked. When you were the minister and when you were the prime minister, why you did not do these things when you was the prime minister? That's the question needs to be asked. I don't like when politicians had the power to do these things, but they only see what's wrong when they become in opposition. Now all of a sudden, you see what the problem is, now you want to speak on the matter. You know, when you had the opportunity to fix the problem, you know, and to the Bahamian, that's a slap in our face because we completely don't understand it. Now, he's making some good points in the House of Assembly lately, the former Prime Minister and former leader of the Free National Movement. Honestly speaking, he's making some good points, but the thing is, he had the power to do these things. Now he's over the power, he's making some good sense in order to get back in party, either as an independent or whatever it is, to lead a new party. If he becomes the independent candidate and he win, you know, he could be first in line to run either the Coalition of Independence or the DNA, I don't know, or the Free National Movement. I don't know how, you know, because that's the first step. If he could do that, he has some type of clout. If he could be re-elected as a third time of Killarney, so that put him as a strong member in the House of Assembly. He's a multi-millionaire. He has his team. What needs to be done. So I don't know. But I know one thing. Had the power to fix the seawall and do many things with the Princess Margaret Hospital, but did not. I mean, he did some things we wouldn't know as citizens, but, you know, he did some good. Can't say he didn't do all bad. He did some good. But, you know, we didn't see all the good, but we know he could have done better. So we're going to listen to what he has to say concerning his constituency, which he represents. It also has been affecting the country, but I just want you to hear what's going on and why what I'm going to say about local government comes into play to ease the burden of these MPs so that they wouldn't be so busy. They would not forget that this is a priority, and very busy schedule, traveling, going to a lot of meetings and talking to residents in the community. You don't have time to meet everyone. You don't have time to fix the problems that you say you're going to fix. That's why people always say, you know, you say you're going to do something, promises, but you never get to it. It's the reason why, because you cannot be able to maintain all of the complaints that are coming into your office. You may want to, but you don't have the resources. Time is moving fast, and you don't have a team, so some things you just push aside. And only when something happens serious, you had it on the book, now you want to speak on it to fix the problem. And that's going backwards in the country. We need better governance. That's why I want the people of this country to listen closely. What you could do in Pinewood, what you could do in Killarney, what you could do in Bahamas and Grandstand, what you could do in any community if you want to see change, where you could be a part of it. You understand? Because we can't really continue to wait on government because government is too busy. One MP who represented being Glennis Annaman, who's an extremely great politician, I highly respect her, the Minister of Education. We also have Mr. Watson being in Grandstand. Both of these communities have thousands of people living in their community. They only get $150,000 in their community. We just had a flooding, okay? How many people's furniture has gotten damaged? Do you think Ms. Glenn can pay for the damages done in that part of the community of all the furniture, fridge, microwave, electricity outage that got damaged in that Imelda, tropical storm Imelda that just left, and that just was rain. She cannot, not with $150,000, the same thing with Wade Watson. They cannot deal with all the needs of the people of these inner city community and the Bahamas at large. The way how we doing politics in the country cannot sustain the people in this country. That way, how we're doing things in the country, where we have one member of parliament representing over 20, 30,000 people in one constituency, that is the most craziest thing, most senile thing I think we could keep up in this country. We are actually failing from the beginning. There's no way possible. None of these MPs who live in these who are representative of these constituency can deal with the needs and concerns of the community. They can't deal with the garbage collection on time. They can't deal with the flooding. They can't deal with the drains in the community that needs to be maintained at a regular basis. They can't deal with some spots in the community that need lights. They can't deal with the speed bump that need to be implemented to stop speeding around parks and etc. You understand? They can't be able to fix all the roads in any city and side corners in the community unless they get this information from a body of people who reside in this community, coming together as a team, coming together and making their presentation to the Board of Local Governors, and the local governors would make a presentation to the MP, and the MP would make a presentation to the Parliament on what needs to happen in this community to make these things, make the community a better place for all of us to live. No government right now, whether you PLP, FNM, DNA, or coalition, even if we change government, the way how the system run with one MP representing 40, 30,000 people, that is the most stupidest thing in the world right now, because he cannot maintain those individuals. He cannot deal with all of the needs. He or she cannot deal with all the needs that the community needs to be accomplished. Not with $150,000, okay? That is suicide, and that's why we are failing. Okay, so we're gonna play the clip with the former Prime Minister, and then I'm gonna dissect through the lines.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Killarney.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't have much to say. We have taken, we have had almost a 2-month break, and I've been informed by the business leader that during the last 2 weeks, he's repeatedly been in communication with the government, trying to find out what bill would we be debating, and could not get any response. Could not get any response. I was informed just yesterday of which we'd be debating, and therefore would not have had adequate time to properly prepare. But, Madam Speaker, it's essential for me to speak, especially about areas that would be affected in my constituency. Before I start, I want to extend condolence to the Arona family, Keith Arona, who's a prominent, well-known businessman in the Farm Road community, Fleming Street, has passed away. And Keith would have left a wealth of knowledge and made great impact within the Farm Road community, Fleming Street. Everyone would know the business as Keith's Chicken Shack. And Keith at one time had expanded to the Grove, East Street and Balfour Avenue, next to his brother's service station. That was short-lived, and he concentrated specifically on the Fleming Street area. But he was a close friend, my father and family, and I extend condolence to the entire family, and Keith most certainly would be missed. But, Madam Speaker, this is a very interesting bill, and bringing this bill forth is very, very timely. It makes me believe that this bill was brought specifically for Killarney. There are so many things within this bill, and what had recently happened affected Killarney, and shows that this bill is very important, must be properly funded, and that is very necessary. And at the same time, Madam Speaker, not only passing the, but it's essential that every aspect of this is enforced. Without enforcement, Killarney, my constituency, will continuously be affected. Madam Speaker, just recently, we had a storm pass through our island. I was away, and I had great difficulty. It's amazing. The average individual, when hurricanes or storms are traveling, they would leave the country. But for some reason, I'm probably one of those Bahamians, like most of us. When storm is traveling, you want to get back home to be with family, friends, property, etc. You feel that it's essential for you to be there protecting everything as if you can stop the storm from coming. But I wanted to come home, and I was trapped in the U.S. For at least 2 days post-storm. But I was able to get back and deal with my personal matter as well as Killarney constituency. But even while off, I would have been communicating with many of my residents and members of my team, ensuring that Killarney is well looked after. But Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, within the Killarney area, when I say team, I'm talking about my Killarney team. Killarney team. Madam Speaker, in the Killarney area, we have a lot of wetlands. It is something we have been for years. It's not with this government, with my government, with previous governments, etc. But this storm brought forth the problems and the chaos we can see in the future. And I would hope that this government and future government recognize and realize the catastrophic effect that can occur within New Providence, especially the West. I have complained in this Parliament repeatedly about filling in the wetlands. We had a great pond within the tropical garden area. That pond had multiple birds, turtles, fish. Kids used to go there, play with the turtles, etc. And it was continuously being filled in. The turtles subsequently disappeared. Fish has subsequently disappeared. Birds no longer fly there. And the homes within the area, of course, the pond was a drain off so that the area would not flood. But as a result of filling in the pond, many homes in our area now are flooded. And when there's high tide, because homes were built on the filled-in areas, when there's high tide, the pond obviously would rise and water comes up in individuals' yards and homes. And this is very significant. Madam Speaker, the airport is also being impacted. But before I talk about the airport, I want to take areas that are affected within the tropical garden constituency, the Kiskadee. Madam Speaker, we have had cases where the water was so high that individuals were trapped in their homes 2, 3, 4 days. And we had started the pumping mechanism in 2022 so that individuals could have at least have some resolution to move back and forth. And I'm happy to see that the government is doing that with many areas because people want some degree of comfort. But then filling in wetland is one thing. But what is being done? Individuals are using, investors, they are using garbage, trash, can, all organic type substance Those are put first in the wetland. Then a layer of soil is placed on top of that. And therefore, to the unknown individual, when they look, they're seeing land, not knowing that 6 inches below that land is nothing more than cans that you would have to move, bottles that you would have to move, cups that you would have to move. They're just occupying space. We have to stop that. It's dishonesty. Because when individuals try to build on that property, it may cost them more to build their foundation than to actually build a home. Because they must go down deep enough to hit rock before they can even start coming out the ground. Many that I've seen and complained about, especially in the western area. And now, this land that was filled with trash and a surface of soil now have bush, trees on it, grass that has grown, wild bush. Individuals pass, they see bush, good land, thinking they're buying good land. But this dishonesty must stop. Bahamians are being robbed. Then the wetlands near the airport has likewise been compromised and commenced being filling. This started years ago. The airport road never used to be flooded or underwater. That wetland served a purpose on Tropical and the airport road. It served as runoff for the airport. And Madam Speaker, just recently, because of interference with the wetland in that area, the airport road was underwater. It was underwater. And if we don't deal with it appropriately and stop the disturbance of that particular wetland, the water will eventually drain to the runway. Our runway is only a matter of time before being compromised. That storm showed us how important it is for us to protect our wetland. The same thing happened in the Devonshire area. Individuals are sometimes trapped in their homes for days because of flooding. And this is throughout. Madam Speaker, while I'm talking about the wetland, we have had excellent maps of the flood areas, flooding-prone areas within New Providence and the flood-prone areas. Madam Speaker, it's essential for us to look at those maps, look at the flood-prone areas, and if individuals want to build in those areas, there should be specific legislation and regulation dictating how their homes should be built. They should be built off the ground, maybe by stilts, or at least elevated to a certain distance. Why? Because they are in areas that we know will be flooded. But at least give them the comfort that should a flood occur, they would not be disturbed within their homes. Because the water entering the homes causes a different problem. You have problems with your utilities, your electricity, your light, your refrigerator, all of your appliances are compromised, your beds, etc. But that's a short-term effect. That's a short-term effect. But let's look at what happens long-term. We're only looking today about drying out individuals' homes. Yes, that's necessary. But let's look at what happens tomorrow. That home is now predisposed to development of molds. So the health of those particular individuals are compromised. We don't look at that because that's happening tomorrow. We're concerned about what's happening today. Then we find that they're having some problems that they must be presented to the hospital facilities, placing extra burden and taxes on our healthcare system. That is something we must do. There are maps showing us exactly where our flood-prone areas are located. But passing the law is one thing. Enforcement is another. Then, Madam Speaker, this bill also speaks about protecting the land. In the West, our roadway runs very close to the sea. And with this little storm, or whatever you want to call it, that we had, the road, the seawall has collapsed, and the road is being compromised. West Bay Street near the Saffron Hill area is already falling apart, and if it's not repaired as quickly as possible, then one day you will find that the road basically has been cut in half. Half of the road would have already disappeared into the sea, which would cost the government a lot more to repair as opposed to fixing it now while the road is just marginal.
That was a wonderful analysis of the concerns of the community by the former Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and concerning his community. Like I said, he is doing the research. He's finding what the concerns are of the residents. But like I said before, you were Prime Minister. You could do something with all these things. In opposition, you were speaking on these matters. I just don't understand if we're going forward or backwards forward, because the issue of these problems when you were the Prime Minister. Why not put a team to implement these? And listen again, people. We talk about how much money the government of the Bahamas spend on traveling in the millions. Then we talked about there was a march that a protest with teachers and those who feel that the government didn't pay them on a timely fashion, so they had their showdown on Bay Street, their protest, and they were saying, if you don't have our money, ring the bell, okay? And many people are frustrated, and the Prime Minister of the country, Honorable Brave Davis, he came and he spoke to the people, and he said, I feel it for you guys, and I was the one who gave y'all the raise because I know y'all are hard working, and I listened, and he didn't have time to continue, and he was trying to say, I taught. So when I listened to the interview and when he said, I thought, seems to me that, he probably already approved it, and he thought like certain person would take care of it, probably the permanent secretary, but the permanent secretary, like he said, I was listening. You got to listen closely what he was saying before he was interrupted. Then he said that I'm going to make sure by December that you would get it. Again, sometimes, like I say, people were saying the money that you're traveling with, okay, and paying certain PLP spokespersons, they are getting paid certain amount of money. They are behind gates, and we, the civil servants, we working hard. Now it's been delayed, so people protest. The Prime Minister responds, and then I just like to listen to what they have to say, and I watch their wording, and I see if I could pick through the line anything they're saying. And one thing I could pick is when he said that, I taught, and then he didn't have time to finish. So what he is saying, he thought that the money would be dispersed to the teachers and whoever would deserve the money. But he did say that by December, he would make sure that they get their money. So we heard the former Prime Minister, Hubert Alexander Minnis, talked about the flooding issues, the seawall in his community, especially out west, where he said that if they don't do something immediately to try and repair it, well, half the road would be gone, and then there would be no traffic. So, listening to the Prime Minister, and he made some great points, okay? So, He talked about the wetlands and places that government would fill in, but they would put garbage, bottles, cans, and etc. Probably fill what they probably was taken from the inner city community and want to take to the dump. But instead of the guys them taking the rock and taking the fill and put down the hole, they're shortcutting, they putting these cans and ball, which is not going to be a good foundation, to dig your foundation for you to put your block in. Because you got must remember now you have to hit ground so that you could put down the blocks for the foundation so that the foundation can be very strong, that no water gets in from none. What he is saying is that they put that first, then they put curry. So if there's a surge underneath the ground, that is not going to be stable enough for you on your foundation. So eventually you will be flooded. So what he is saying that if you do go in these areas, make sure that you use the right material, means that the rocks and stuff like that, you could throw down there, you put the curry so that it's stable. He also saying the low-lying areas where you know it's going to be flooding, build it up, build the foundation up. So you could go build a foundation like six or seven course, but 4 course could be in the ground, and then the 4 more course could be up, or you could go up even higher. You just have to build a deeper foundation so that when the water comes in, your foundation, your door would be like at least 4 or 5 foot above the water. That's why you can stay in your house, because in some cases they are saying that the water came in and it reached up to some people's window and they couldn't go outside. So that's how high the water was. So I guess you have to build up a better, higher foundation. Some places you can't build because they're wetlands and they're to drain off for the flooding. That means when the water comes in, it drains back off into the wetlands. That means the water resides. So that's more like a drainage. So I think there are some good points. But here I'm going to talk with Fort Charlotte, and I'm going to tell you where local government comes in. Then I want to go with Fort Charlotte. I was listening to some of the interviews on Pinewood Gardens. So number host boss, Sabas Bastian, was in the newspaper a few days ago. And he has aspiration to be a member of parliament. He wants to serve. We are the youngest elected politician in the history of the country, former minister for being in Grandstand. Arona is seeking to win the Fort Charlotte seat. So we have 2 young aspirant. One is a business boss, business owner. One is a politician and a pilot. One is filthy rich. He worked his way up in society. He came from nothing, and he worked his way up in society over the last 20 years. Now he's a successful multi-millionaire, and now he says that he wants to serve, and he's going up against a young Travis Robertson who wants to redeem himself. He also wants to serve, so they're going to vie for the Fort Charlotte seat. And there was some concern about Fort Charlotte, listening to when Travis Robertson was debating the town hall's meeting about the construction of the hospital. And they're saying that if you build the hospital in Papal track, where the water wells are. When I was a kid, we would normally ride from here and we would go in the industrial garden over all the wells, and we would end up actually by the caves. We would end up in the back of the caves because there was a road that we could go through from there because that was underdeveloped. All those houses you see out west, they wasn't there. So we had a road that we left from the Botelco area. We'd hit on the H.O. Nash highway, cut through there, and then we'd end up in the cave, way out west. And come down in the back of the cave. There was a road in the back of the cave. I could always remember that we used to do that when we was young and come in the cave with a bath are. So just giving an insight. We used to leave from Fort Charlotte, go to the water wells. But the wells had fish, they are like tins cut out, where the water, like a square, from miles, starts from Fort Charlotte in that vicinity of Chippenham, where Dashaw Garden was, where Leslie Miller brother has his center there for at-risk drug users, situated right in the area right there. And then they have water wells and stuff like that. This where the water would drain off so that the Fort Charlotte residents, wouldn't stay flooded for too long, and they're saying that's going to interfere now that they're building this hospital. So all that has to be in consideration. All that has to be set in consideration. There are some very pressing issues. But the thing is, what I don't really understand is that the members of parliament who are the members of parliament of these constituency, how have they done the research on what is the number one priority in that community? Because every 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years, we have a flooding or hurricane of magnitude that's either is going to hit the Bahamas or the older Bahamas, or we're going to have a tropical storm, and it affects us. And we are flooding, and we have had this over and over. What are the goals of the MP, knowing that they have these problems in their community, but yet still they fail to act? The only time they act is when the storm comes again or the flooding comes again. And they talk about the plans and what they need to do from what they need not to do, but nothing is done. We heard ministers stated that successive government has come in and have let the problem remain the same, but now they're talking about the same problem over and over and over again. The MPs in these communities needs to find a way how not to be so busy. Do the work of the country by going in parliament and speaking, but you need a team of people on the ground that is going to be able to fill the needs of the community, because the MP is too busy. He don't have time. There's no way possible the MP is going to deal with all these projects in a timely fashion in a 5-year period. He could complete it with the help of the community with local government. He could go and sit in parliament, okay? And local government itself, in entirety, is a mechanism to take the pressure off the MP, because of the population and the issues concerning the community are too overwhelming for the MP. The community residents will know exactly what needs to be done. There needs some speed bump needs to be put down here. Well, there's a yard with abandoned houses down there that needs to be fixed. All these should be recorded. There are dialect vehicles that needs to be moved, okay? There are some at-risk and some disabled people living in the community through this corner. They need assistance. We need the roads to be repaired, okay? We need the garbage to be collected on a timely fashion, because the rate that the garbage truck comes in the community, it is too slow. So times the garbage truck do come through in a 2 weeks period, the garbage has been dispersed from the dogs and the rat. We have a rat problem. We can identify these problems in the community and set information out, because we have the connection for each resident in the community to identify if you have a rat problem or rat infestation. You can contact the local government board or the representative of that part of that community, because there's supposed to be 7 governors for that community. So in an area like Garden and Grandstand, we'd have 7 governors. Just say I'd be one cross here, CB Moss would be one cross here. We'd have some other community leaders who are not politically affiliated. Yes, you could be a part of a PLP or AFNM or the Coalition of Independence, but this here is different. This here is serving the people. You're here to help your party. You understand? But you're also here to help the people who have concerns and there needs to be a sense of urgency. And you guys are going to be that sense of urgency. So we have 7 governors. They're going to look at all the complaints of their particular community. They're going to present these problems to the board, where the minister himself, it could be the minister of Garden and Grandstand, it could be Glennis Martin, it could be the opposition leader Michael Pentat, who wants a seat, who has a community in Freeport. The board would identify problems in each part of the community. If there's flooding, they would identify it. They would have a team who would go assess that problem, come up with a strategic plan, find the best alternative on how they could get the floodwaters reside by putting in the proper infrastructure of drains and piping system, okay? And present this to the member of parliament. And when he has his chance to debate in the House of Assembly, he could table this in the House of Assembly based on the information received from the local government, which are the individuals who are elected by the people of the community, who all put together their problems, and it is documented, presented to the MP, and the MP goes to the host of Parliament and says, Mr. Prime Minister, we need to put a drainage in Pinewood Garden. It costs $20 million to put a drainage system in Pinewood Garden. We are asking on behalf, as a member of Parliament for the Pinewood constituency and a member of the local government committee, and this is the information and research that we have done. We're going to share it in the host assembly, and this is what we like of the constituents of Pinewood Garden. Can we get the funding to build this drain for Pinewood Garden? And these are the kind of things that local government can do. The roads that we see in the inner city community, these potholes, the minister himself, he see this problem, but he is not a number one man, he's not a number two man, he's not a number three man, he's number four man. He can't get things done like Chester Cooper. He can't get things done like the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Honorable Brave Davis. He can't get things done like the Honorable Fred Mitchell. There are certain positions in Parliament where your cabinet ministers and your back benches, and some back benches just display that, or they feel that they can't get the government agencies to really work with them. Here why I'm saying this. Back benches are the ones who people, the permanent secretary, really don't respect them. They only respect the MPs like Chester Cooper, Fred Mitchell, like I said, and the Honorable Prime Minister. That's why so much development is happening in Exuma. Billions of dollars is being invested in Exuma. Reason why? Chester Cooper has access to BPL. He has access to water and sewage. So when he has to do some type of road work in Exuma and et cetera, he sends this into the Ministry of BPL, and he is the Deputy Prime Minister. They can't turn him down. So instantly, he is granted. But a backbench MP, he ain't gonna get that kind of support. You know, no disrespect. Prime example, I ain't being in Grandstand. You know, Mr. Watson. You know, he is the representative for the community. I don't put no pressure on him. And I don't like to bother with him because I know his hands full. So I do. I know his hands full. I know what is $150,000. I know that he's dealing with a big population of over 30 to 40 to 50,000 people, kids, old people, furnace arrangement, scholarships, all this stuff. So that's a lost cause. He's going to help some people, but he's not going to be effective like the way how really effective. That don't mean he's a bad MP. I'm just saying that he don't have the funds, he don't have the team, you know, he just don't. None of these MPs do, because they don't understand what's at stake. You need that local government board to take the pressure off the MPs, okay? They have, the Free National Movement have their association. The PLB have their Being and Grandstand Association. The FNM has their Being and Grandstand Association. That's different. That's party. We don't need that. What we need is a local government that has people from all walks of life who are concerned with the community, who are doing good in the community with creative ideas, and table it and say, this is what we need for our community. Okay? Like the Pinewood Garden constituency. And a lady made a good, valid point on the radio. She didn't show her face. So she said this. She was outside her house in Pinewood Gardens, and, you know, it was flooded. And she standing up the knee height. And she was saying, you know, all the furniture gone, you know, the TV, all these stuff damaged, right? So she said that if we the people, you know, need to get together and check and file a complaint against a real estate company that developed these houses in Pinewood Garden, you understand? And sue them. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, that's what I would like, but she is right, because they are responsible knowing that the lands are low. And if they were to build, they were supposed to advise the landowners that, you know, it's a low-level line, it's a flood-prone wetland. You know, you're supposed to build it higher, like former Prime Minister Hubert. I want you to listen to what he said. He said in some of these low-level lines that the developers themselves shortcut. Okay? So that means all the curry in Pinewood Garden, right? When they cut it down, cleared out. They ain't put enough rocks. They ain't put enough fill to raise it up when 7 or 8 feet. You understand? So basically all the hoses, with the water coming, water come 3, 4 feet, eventually it's going to get higher. So the hoses in Pinewood Garden are supposed to build higher off the ground, like Minnesot was trying to explain in some of the wetlands. So the foundation should be high, like some of these things could be like 9 cars a block. No, I ain't saying 9 cars a block, but I mean like in the ground to reach thing up and also to be high over the ground. So it could at least be 5 feet off the ground in these Pinewood areas. But the hoses are there. What is going to be the solution? Graham Rutherford always talked about a drainage system and ties in Susie, and now the government is looking at that. But the thing is, the representative for Pinewood Gardens, over the course of the last 20 years, PLP and FNM, what have they been doing? Taking the taxpayers' money, but if people have lost thousands and thousands of dollars every time these flood and hurricanes and tropical storm come around. And they lose all their furniture. And some of these people are paying their mortgage, which is ridiculous. $150,000, $200,000 for these low-cost homes that were actually crown land, were given to the church turning it over to a certain faction, and the faction them build the houses, knowing that it's a low land line, right? You're overcharging the Bahamian people. This crown land, some of these properties on these supposed cost a little $5,000 or $10,000, $15,000. Okay, these properties are ranging prices from $15,000 to going for $150,000 to $200,000. Where you're paying mortgage and tell you, if you're 20 and you get one of these, you can finish paying this mortgage when you're 40. You understand? Because they're gonna take it out every month. This highway robbery, man, what's being going on in this country, man. You see, and you got to blame the political party. You got to blame the church because the church is the one get the land as well. You understand? I've been hearing this. Minnesot stated this in his speech. He ain't named no one in particular. And he said this, and he's the prime minister. And this happened on his watch as well. He can't say it ain't happened on his watch. That's why he can say it himself, because he do it himself. I can't say exactly where he do it, but he spoke on it, and he was the prime minister for 4 years. So you don't think some kind of development was going on like that on this watch? But he went trade on the other party. But listen closely, he said. He didn't say it didn't just happen at one administration. He admitted it happened under multiple administrations. So many of these houses around the country are crown land, were given to developers by the government, by the church. And the church swindle people because the church give the land to real estate guys, and they build homes and they charge the people, Bahamian people, not 5%, not 10%. They charge these Bahamian people close to 70% because some people were paying their mortgage in Pinewood Garden for over 20-something years. So definitely when the lady said that, right, how the houses were built, and we should, yes, see, Bahamians need to get together. Homeowners need to get together. The PLP and FNM, all y'all were in the flood. All y'all who love party and like to put party before yourself, I bet you all y'all, shock up too, right? But from all the electric wire and stuff like that, you think the electricity you had was going to spare you if it's a PLP or FNM? You think the electricity in the wall was going to spare you because it's a PLP? You walk in there with your barefoot. You think he can say, oh, he's a FNM, or use a PLP and I ain't gonna shock you, or I ain't gonna flood you, or the water say, oh, I use a PLP, the water ain't gonna flood me in Pinewood Garden. You know water coming in? That's why you have to be a nationalist. Yes, you can help these parties, but you can understand in a national issue, you have to forget about the party. Yeah, you support the party, but this is a national issue. And that's the priority we have to put. So local government is key. Individuals who are elected by local government, appointed by the community, they have to be for the people. They can't go and say, use a PLP or FNM, I don't like you, I'm not going to do nothing for you. No. Your job is to come there and find the problem, find a solution, record it, write it down, and present it to the member of parliament and let them go and host a parliament and table it and get the funding from the prime minister and from cabinet and then pass on to local government, and local government could trickle it down and make sure the roads are fixed on time, the potholes are fixed on time, speed bumps are installed in places where it needs to be installed. Young girls like Ariel, who lost her life on Carmichael Road, who ain't had no light on in the house, who current was off, who probably ain't had no food in the house, or and also ain't had no light on the street corner that she was walking on coming from school. We can make a change with local government. We can make sure, identify these things and say we need a lamppost at that particular spot. We could say, we have kids going to school. We want a bus. We want a bus for our kids in Pinewood Garden to take them to school. We could say, these are things that we can do with local government. We could have a bus system just for our kids to pick them up and drop them from school instead of letting them walk home at night coming from school, from practice, like what happened to young Ariel. We'd have a bus system and they could pick them up and drop them home. These are the things that we can do with local government, okay? This is one of the programs I work personally with the IDB Bank. So they went and got Renard Henfield. Let me just tell you all people how I've been working for the Bahamian people, coming up with solutions and put myself out there. And I'm a poor man, but I always had ideas for the Bahamian people. See, I'm a nationalist, okay? And I want the best for our nation. And to do that, you have to be a nationalist. You understand? To see the concerns, because you're not going to see the hurting and the pain that the Bahamian people is going through if you be involved with these political parties, because they blind you. You know your party could do better, but yet still you're blind because you're getting a little contract. But a nationalist sees it, and he wants to change, and I want to change. And these are the programs I did for the country, okay? And I sit down there, and the IDB president was amazed at me. And they asked me, say, if I get paid for the information they received from me. Because I had them down in Garden and Grandstand for about a year. And they did a survey about the things I'm talking about. And that's why they wanted to implement local government. Because how I explained it to them, how the students from the University of the Bahamas explained it to them, how Dwight Scrawn, see Dwight Scrawn, yeah? He knew exactly what's going on with local government. Because he was right there from the inception with me going to the meetings every day. Dwight Scrawn, morning blend. He was sitting on there taking notes and a part of it. And he himself spoke on it. And he himself in the country. So they got Renard Henfield. They got Dwight Scrawn from Guardian. I was at one board from the inception, and they got these people to support the idea what I gave them. They brought the office of the Prime Minister in at the IDB Bank over there on Shirley Street, all documented. Me, I ain't no Prime Minister, I ain't no member of Parliament. All I am is a concerned citizen who has some ideas and people love what I was doing in my community. Not as a representative, but as a concerned citizen who go there, use his contacts by meeting a lot of Greeks and a lot of prominent people in the country, the Simonettes like Brent Simonet and Robin Simonet, and get them to support me on little small programs like the cleanup program that we're doing right now in the inner city community that they themselves are sponsoring. And they've been doing that for 5 years, going on 5 years. And right now, getting people like the Alexander Millis to come and help get a team of people so we can build a community center. And we did. We built 2 community centers in Lewis Street, Lenhan, Bahamas. I'm looking to build a third one that's going to teach culinary cooking to kids in the community who wants to learn a trade. So local government can change everything in this country. The problem is the politicians are afraid because they saying that, or it could take away the power. No, this is going to help you guys because you guys cannot get all these things done under your administration. Y'all are too busy. It's impossible. So local government could be that beacon that deals with the inner city problems. We know we're going to fix it because why is you guys are debating in the House of Assembly on matters and going at one another. The people who are in charge of local government, their only concerns is to put down the drainage system, get the garbage truck collected on time, come up with creative ideas on how they could transform the community into a vibrant community, vehicles in the community, have a system where we have persons who will come around and do all the maintenance with the drainage system, okay? Maintain the system with the road. We have a maintenance team that goes around through every corner to make sure there are no more cars put back and spots that we already cleaned up so we don't re-spend money or reuse money to go back and clean something up again. So we'd have a team of persons, a part of the local government that goes around, check the corners to make sure that no one is dumping. And if there's garbage dumped, we're going to have a quick response team to come and remove it immediately because we have access to the Ministry of Environment. So local government team would have access to BPL. Local government teams would have access to social service. Local government would have access to the government agencies for whatever need, whether it's road works, we would be recognized. And we'd have a quicker, faster response to help the people. So these problems that we face in the country, local government could help solve all of those costs. You citizens in the country, you guys can make a difference. The only thing you guys are going to have to put aside is politics and put away the church. And understand that if you guys work together, we could achieve a lot. You don't have to like me, but I mean, you could be a part of a board. You don't have to like me, but you know that we have a goal. And our goal is to stop the flood water from coming in the PLPOs, stop the flood water coming from the F&M house, stop the flood water coming in the coalition house, and stop the flood waters from coming in people who ain't a part of no political party are just swing voters and vote for anyone who have a comprehensive plan to better the community, okay? And that's what we want. Local government, you people ask for local government to be a part of it, okay, people? Listen to me. Yo, MP, issues of his community. Let me give you a prime example. Do you think Wade Watson, who is a good MP with $150,000, he has funerals every year. People get killed, shoot. He has to find ways when people apply to him and ask him to bury those. He has to do those. You have back to school, right? You have old people who lights are off, who you're going to have to go to BPL and get it turning on because they have a program where the MP would help you turn on your light. Funeral arrangements, education, he dealing with crime. He have to go to programs. He also have to travel. It's impossible. That way of thinking is finished in this country. Anyone who thinking that in this time right now is a fool. The thing that an MP could come in the community and change the community unless he have local government and help the people working with him in that community is a fool. I'm telling you. I analyze it. This is the only way we're going to change the country. And we're going to have to introduce local government in Nassau, New Providence. Don't be not afraid. The local government is going to do the needs of the MP. And this is a plus to the MP because now what the MP has to do, he just go speak on these things that needs to be happening in this community. And he's going to get the funding from the Prime Minister. And when the Prime Minister gives him the funding, he is going to take the funding and give to the local government association who will be held accountable to make sure that the funds go to the right initiative. Okay, and then we could grow. And we could grow. You know? And there's so much change local government can do. See, I guess when it comes to this one, when it comes to crime, you have a lot of at-risk guys who charge serious offenses who live in each community. You have some guys who charged with serious offenses, they live in Mason Addition. You have some guys living in East Street. You have some guys live in Fox Hill. But sometimes you have like 20 or 30 guys who reside in the community, but you wouldn't know because you wouldn't know that these guys live in your community and they come out of the prison. And some of these guys come into the prison, they come right back in this community without you not knowing. And they sell in your community. Now they can't find no work, so they sell drugs, and then they start to link up with guys in and out of prison. They start to get guns and they start to, cause a turf war because this is all they know. If we have local government and we're working with the prison, and we're going to find out who all lives in this part of Lower Street, Hay Street, and Taylor Street. And we go to the prison so that we can deal with the hardened criminals who come out and come back in the community. We know their offenses. So we're going to try to find ways on how we could work with them so that we can limit their opportunities of them hurting our young children in the community or hurting an old person in our community. Because mind you, we had a 74-year-old killed in a week span, and then a 12-year-old girl in a week span. Both killed by two two persons of interest who were in and out of prison. Okay? So what we can do is, when these people are being released from prison, we have our local government, we have our statistics by the prison to know who's coming out of prison in our community. So we expect them. So what we can do now is we can help them as well. So there's some type of, something could come up where we could say, brother, we know you just come out, meet these individuals and say how we can help. They don't have a place to stay. We would help them get a place to stay, get them back on their foot, talk to them and tell them don't go back in the life of crime. And, this is the first step. See, these things could change things instead of let these guys come right back in the community and roam in the community and end up running the community, controlling the community. As a guy that come into the community, right, the community quiet. One guy could come out of prison and come in the community and mess the whole community right up. So if we could control that, and we can do that by local government because we could have the access to the files and all the names of individuals living in our respective community. And in some cases, we have it all going on in each community. And you know what? We could find out why so much turf wars being going on, why so much gangbanging, why this one don't like this one, why this is going on now that we have this board, because the information we'll be receiving from local government concerning these individuals might tie into the Fox Hill community, because people are going to talk and say, man, I know the guy, my son know him, and we were talking about it, and they have a beef with some guy up in this area here. So I got the name. So all this can lead to, okay, we get two names now. Let's see how we could get the information from Fox Hill, get the information from Baintown, and see how we could strategize now and how we could pull these two guys together, because we know the local government board members here. We know the local government board members there. Let's get the police involved. Let's get social service involved. Let's see how we could bring these two guys together and see if we could solve that problem, because we know what the problem is, because by having local government, information is coming to you from residents in the community who are part of the board. So now you are reaching teens, you're reaching a different chapter now on solving the country's problem. But now this is done by local citizens who are part of local government and citizens who also just want help. Local government is what we need. So I say to the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, if you're not going to introduce local government, you're not going to get my vote. The Coalition of Independence, you introduce local government. To the Free National Movement, you're not going to get my vote unless you implement local government and make sure that everyone who's elected a part of local government has the heart and the desire to help their people. They're not here for the PLP and the FNM. But this could also decide if you guys could stay in power. Because if the MP of the Free National Movement was to continue to work with the local government and he does the right thing, this might could make him repeat. As well as the opposition, if they're doing some good stuff and they're working with the local government, like still assisting with the local government on some of the issues concerning the community, this would also give them the opportunity to put good candidates, respectable candidates, but 4 or 5 years. You understand? And people who are more concerned about the community. Local government is the way out. So people, it might not make sense to you guys, but I'm telling you, you could fix the problem in Pinewood Garden if you get your local government go in and the people participate. Because all of y'all have lost furniture, appliances, and thousands of dollars. You guys can do this, all right? We need local government in Nassau and Providence. We need local government. Now, if anyone want to call in and contribute to the show, the telephone numbers are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. You see I'm making sense? We could deal with so much problems in our community. We don't have no more dialect vehicles in our community. We would be able to control the face with a lot of rats in our community. Like I said, we can identify those, and we have a rat program going on. And we're going to tell everyone, put them on simultaneously. We're going to teach people from the ministry, bring people from the Ministry of Environment as part of a local government team, show you how to dispose of the rat, show you also how to put down the rat poison to make sure that you don't damage the wildlife. We're talking about the cats. We're talking about the dogs, so teach you how to put down the rat poison. And if there is a particular spot that is a hive, we could help the Ministry of Environment come in and put down cages and teach you also how to trap them and get rid of them. You know, to open a rat trapping business right now in the country, some young guy out there, you're listening, go and study for a little 2 months, go to school and learn some things about rat, get your cages, man, start advertise, man, brother, and get the latest set of chemicals and go around this country. You would make about $1 million in about 5 years if you and your team get together and come up with some comprehensive rat trapping poison program in the country and go to these businesses and see how you could eradicate the rats in those areas. I think where you'd make plenty of money. Okay? Think about it. One of you guys go into the rat killing business. That'd be plenty money. We're going to take this call on Guardian Radio. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City.
Hey, Scrooge.
Yes, sir.
Poppy, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Tell me on the thing.
That's Chris.
Respect, Chris. All right. Tell me. Scrooge, like the Jamaican brothers say, and I say this to what you saying, call in if you making sense. How you mean? That's how the Jamaican brother, what they say? How you mean? Yeah, man, you making sense. You always make sense. But, you know, it's really serious what you're pointing out. And I was one of them persons who hear about local government over the years, but didn't give too much about it because it seems like the politics is getting involved.
Yes.
It's a small country, and every country they do local government, and I guess everybody get a political persuasion. So even like how you mentioned that some of the people who could serve on the board could end up even serving in Parliament eventually if the people think they really care about the community or the constituency. So I reached a conclusion. I think I have to agree with you what you're saying. I think the local government legislation is there, but they just ain't implemented into Nassau and Providence.
Yes.
Yet. So they just dragging. I think they just dragging their foot on that
Yes.
situation. So when you say if they don't say it, all of them, you ain't gonna vote for them. I guess all of them will say yeah, they for local government.
Yes.
But we implemented in New Providence before the next general election. But we got hope whosoever we support will push it.
Yes.
Man, Dwight don't be wasting time and don't be making no sense. He's be making sense.
Yes.
Dwight pushing for something, and he's get passionate when he talk about
Yes.
with local government. But when you really think about it,
Yes.
that is the answer.
That is the answer.
From Jesus being the answer for everything,
Yes.
right?
Jesus is the answer for everything, but local.
Yes. This local government.
It's the answer for
I
us.
feel like it will take the power away from, not just taking it away from the politicians, but people who might really. They ain't have the real heart to understand what service is all about.
Right.
They get it mixed up. It's like they just want position. You
Yes.
understand? So I think we have a choice to either vote in or elect who we think is the right people rather than just either a general in the community or whatever, or even get into the constituency office. And these people have an attitude, that's a F&M or that's a PLP, and they do this when they was in power and all kind of.
Yes.
So we might get skip that.
Right.
$150,000, what you talk about, and whatsoever that'll be underneath local government.
Right.
We'll have more. I don't think.
Right.
I don't think when we have it in Nassau, they will continue getting that big amount. But what local government is there for will be to do that job what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And it'll skip all of that friends, family, and lovers, and just wasting the money and nothing getting done. The place still, the drainage ain't being clean or whatsoever. People still complaining. This board, what you talk about, I don't know how they doing it on the family. Like I say, I can get interested in it and I can support it, right? The police is be on that board too.
Yeah, man, we need everyone on the board.
Okay,
everyone on the board.
That's good.
Everyone on board.
How when people come out of prison or people with a problem in the community.
Yes.
I don't know if we should just get police from the community, but it should be.
Of course.
How do you say the senior officer?
Of course.
Yeah, senior officer should be on it, even if he have a junior or whatever.
Yes.
But I think the local government, like you say, it sounds like it's the way to go. And
Yes.
And why I have to agree, not just because my boy Scrooge, all the things you've been doing. You say the people ask you get paid for it, eh?
Non-paid consultant.
Non-paid for
and they asked me, they say if I was back in their homeland,
you would have been paid.
they said I would have been a millionaire and I would have been a national treasure.
But Jules, I don't have to tell you, you're a nationalist, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we respect you for that.
Yes, sir.
And Scrooge, you're doing a lot of things without being an MP.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Scrooge, tell me something. You think if you would have been interested, I don't know, I really asking to if you're interested, right? And I might have asked it before. With being in Parliament, you think the people in the community would support you, skip all of that red and yellow FNM and PLP and support you for what you be doing?
Listen to me. I might say this, like, I'm not exaggerating or trying to believe like some type of thing. I don't look at it like that. I a shy person. You know, I like to be in the background. The only reason I come out to do this because I have a voice and I have a lot of solutions, so I speak out. In my community, the people love me.
And the conviction in your heart.
They love me. They love me. They love me because I serve. I'm not a politician. Anyone can tell you if they know me. I've been doing basketball tournament for 20-some years. I've been doing talking to consulting with IDB Bank, the governments.
Scrooge, it's good when they love you, right?
Yes.
But you know, you said earlier that you don't have to like me. You know,
right?
Scrooge, we don't have to like one another to fight and push and serve for the right reasons.
Yes, yes.
So Scrooge, it's good to know they love you.
Yes, they love me, man.
I believe this might be a question mark, not questioning what the people would decide to do if they would elect you to go in there without any colors or any major political.
You mean independent? You mean as independent?
Yes.
Yes, but people to vote for me. A lot of people ask me now why I'm not going to the last two general elections. They told me so when Charles Robinson run, that was my chance. They told me this one coming up. But, you know, like I say, you know, if I get some more stuff done in the community and in the country as solutions, and I feel that I can serve from capability, where I can serve and serve the people because I know what the people need. Until then, I want to continue to grow. And when I accomplish some more stuff and I learn some more things on how to change the dynamics of the community and the country, how to build it up with housing, small business, deal with the crime issue, deal with the abuse, and deal with the clean up in the community, keeping it clean in the community like I'm about to, then I think I'll be ready and I'll present myself because I know exactly what the people need. And I'm not going to go in there for money. My goal is to go there.
I tell you as a nationalist, it ain't about you.
No.
It's about serving.
It's about serving.
Being ready.
It's about
serving.
serving.
You're doing these things without being, in spite of how we feel that you'll be and we will encourage you, maybe even financially support you to do it.
Yes.
You're doing it without being inside there. So I salute you for that, brother. But
Yes,
the local government thing, I think we need to encourage our members of parliament, not just our members of parliament, each other in the community.
Local government.
We need to encourage one another to study up on it and see what it could benefit us. Because rather than just sucking up to these members of parliament with these general, and the thing about it will remove some of those persons who, like I say, have the wrong idea about it. They like how do I say it? They hoggish.
Yes.
They didn't understand what service is all about. They going about it the wrong way. And we could raise funds and do all kind of things. We could get international help and things and stuff.
Yes.
So I salute people like you and Dwight Strawn for pushing it. And don't stop.
Yes.
I hope more people like me and others would, you know, just try to encourage it. They get it there.
Yes.
They're just scared to put it in now. So I think you can take the power and the strength away from them. They ain't going to be able to have us coming to suck up the, hey, minister, hey, MP, like this in the area need to do. They still have some things to be able to give out contracts, I believe.
Yeah, they still do.
Special projects, but when it comes down to these communities and what's going on in the communities, all the flooding and the drainage not being...
They can't handle it. That's a waste of time. Can't handle it.
No.
They can't. Be looking for that.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. Thank you
to all and people who support you and help you, Scrooge.
Yeah, man. I support people like the Seminet's Brent Seminet's wife, Manda Colston, Yuli Wogus, the Melis family. I get the Dorset family for donating the property to Lewis Creek. You know, so many others. KK from Central Food Fair. You know, just so many people are. The Moscows for helping us with the Wall of Respect on Lewis Street that they brought their equipment, you know. Again, to the Seminets for their constant support of the garbage bin that is being supplied throughout the community of Lewis Street, H Street, and Taylor Street free of charge. This is one of the initiatives that we're keeping going, and these things I do.
Those number, man, they support you in the area?
No, I don't support. I don't ever talk to them. I know Flowers and I know Sabas. I know Sabas is my cousin. I know, yeah.
Politically, I thought they were people like them, because you know people buying numbers in the community and stuff.
Yes. All right then. Thank
Keep
you,
up the
man.
good work, my brother.
Thank you. We're gonna take this next call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City.
Brother Brown, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Thompson?
Listen, I hear you talking all this talk about local government.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to the Bahamian people, because local government is not in your province, what is this kind of local government you're talking about? Because I'm not getting any favorable response from the people in the family islands who have had it for almost 30 years, eh?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
what's happening?
Well, I think that they're politically indoctrinated with their political party, and they're not really using their power to see the needs of the community and presenting it to their representative of that community.
Well, the thing is, they say they have to be not by party, but by individuals, right?
Yes, sir.
And so what has been the result?
Well, so, you know, boy, so that's a hard one to answer.
Because you got the people in Zoo to say the lights keep getting cut off.
And that's why.
The water ain't working.
Yes, that's why we
The
need.
roads and everything like that.
That's why we need local government, for the reason
Well,
right
they
there.
have it in the family islands. How come it's not working in the family? You're not
Because-
talking about that kind of local government. Eh?
No, I think that the people who has it there are not using it for their benefit. Because some people who are appointed on the family island are people who are inclined to political parties. The local government I'm talking about is a government that is people who are designed and understand, like yourself,
Uh-huh.
like to fix the steps.
Oh, yeah.
You understand? To help people with small business. Those
Yeah.
abandoned lots that has those abandoned houses and dialect vehicles. People like yourself who on the ground to be the ones who see these things, get funding, and be able to go to the Ministry of Social Service, go to the Ministry of Environment, and immediately, effectively, once you speak, you have the contacts, they will come immediately and effectively and move these things. That's what we're talking about. And you could present the problems to the minister of that community based on local government. And he has to go debate in the House of Assembly and say that this is what Mr. Thompson gave me. And the panel of people are part of the local government board. He said that we need 2 garbage trucks for Fort Finchastle. There's the park needs speed bumps around the park. We have a old lady around there who has a granddaughter who is disabled, has no running water, has no light. We would like social service to come in and deal with these things. This is what local government can do. That's the local government I'm talking about.
Okay, but the local government be able to raise its own taxes?
Yes, sir.
Taxes in the community?
Yes, sir, we can.
Oh, good.
Yes, sir.
If we can get to raise taxes and be able to charge for different things,
Yes, because we could pay for the
then
garbage
be
truck.
able to take care of these problems.
Yes, we could pay for the garbage truck that we need. We could
Exactly.
say we collect taxes and we say we need 2 garbage trucks so that the garbage don't build up in our community. We only have 1, so now we get 2. We use that tax and buy a garbage truck, whatever is needed that we use it for.
Okay, so if the local government is able to raise their own taxes, what about all these boards and committees and authorities appointed by the Prime Minister? You got to eliminate them.
Yes, we're gonna have to eliminate them because local government is gonna be the one. We don't want those set from the what you call them now the association board of the Free National Movement or the association board from the PLP. No, we want local government that is for the people. That's what we want.
Yeah, I understand that, but let me make
Yes, sir.
this point clear. I'm talking about the boards, committees, authorities appointed by the Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
You see, he got all kinds of things appointed.
Yes,
he got
sir.
all kinds of ambassadors appointed.
Yes.
All of these people are taking money out of the public treasury.
Yes,
for
sir.
nothing,
Yes, sir.
Because there's no benefit to us.
Yes, sir. There's no
We
benefit
got
to
a
us.
lousy police station right here, Central Police Station. I spoke about that on here today.
Yes, sir, Mr. Thompson. You do a
They
wonderful
are
job.
weightless.
Yes, sir.
And then you got the police double parking right down there on East Street as you go toward Bay Street. I went through that today.
Wow.
You see, and I told the person who was driving me, I'll report about that on my show, which I did.
Yes, sir.
But no, local government, if once we can raise our own taxes, fine. But we got to get rid of all these crappy boards and committees and authorities appointed by the Prime Minister.
Yes, sir. And
You
have
see?
direct.
So, no, once you explain to people what type of local government you're talking about,
Yes, sir.
I think we could get a better grip on it. Now, with all those things, what you say you had with the IDB and them other people,
Yes, sir.
what did the government of Bahamas say about it?
Well, what happened? The government of Bahamas said about it. $1 million for community centers around Nassau, Providence. That was the idea I put forward. And you see the community center that Jerome Campbell is building now in Centerville, and the community centers they're building around Nassau, Providence right now, Mr. Thompson. That is what the IDB Bank invested in when they met me. And also the introducing to get the people to come in to put the plan for local government together. Yes.
Okay.
They was the one who funded. IDB Bank is the one who funded the government of Bahamas based on, they did that for me. Honestly speaking, it's in the book
That's
and
a
everything.
loan or a contribution?
Excuse me?
That's a loan or a contribution?
I can't say if it's a loan or contribution. They only put it forward to say, build a community center. When we talked about, like when I said, I'm building a community center in the Grandstand, I told them this. They said, you building a community center in the Grandstand? They asked me, say, you rich? I said, no, I'm a poor guy. I said, I'm using my connection from the mail list.
Right.
And the seminaries who I know, and I'm using those guys and the Moscows and see if I could get them to top it in their family or the friends to come down in Lewis Street and build a community center.
Well,
and I said, I used that. And they did that.
Yeah.
And the community center cost over $1 million in Lewis Street.
I agree. It costs some money, yeah.
And I was able to do that with Lucas Metropolis, Sheila Pritchard. So I was able to use my partnership, but it didn't come with that. It come with the fact that I used my brain. So that is local government. So I used myself, what I was able to do, to know it can work, because I did it without $1 and got $1 million instruction, get $1 million instruction built in the Grandstand community. So that's what the IDB Bank was doing. They were taking information from me, and they gave the government $21 million to the PLP government to build community centers all around Nassau and Providence. That's all. They was very supportive of it. White people, an international organization, they were very supportive of it because it makes sense when I sit down and I talk with them. Go look in the buckets there. You don't believe me? Look in the urban design book. That was done. You'd see me all through it. Students of university, $20-something million. The tie in Bay Street with over the hill to deal with poverty, to deal with crime, and to deal with the social ills that we're talking about in this community, in our community. Mr. Thompson still there? I guess Mr. Thompson left. We got this last caller. Go ahead, caller. We're going to take your call, please. That's it. So, yes. So, people don't know the stuff I have contributed to the Bahamas. All right? I've done more than some prime ministers and members of parliament, okay, with just my knowledge and the intuition from God that he blessed me with to go and be able to interpret what he gave me and use that knowledge to be able to talk to people who have the power to make things happen. So you don't have to have money. You just have to have the blessing from God. And he would guide you in the right direction as long as your heart is in the right place. And he know my heart is in the right place because he know I love to help people. I've been helping people all my life, despite my past when I was a gangster. But even when I was a gangster, I just was a violent person. But I was a person. I love old people. I love children. I protected my community from rapists, armed robbers, and thieves. The only thing I fought against was guys who come and do violent crimes, shoot gun in my community. I just was violent, but I always protected my community. But I always had a heart to don't see people suffer. When I know in this Bahamas that it's 21/7, right? That has about 11 million visitors come visit our shore. Major investments is going on. Close to about 7 or 8 or 9 billion dollars has been invested in Exuma, right? Nassau, and a few of the family islands. And yet still we have people being flooded when we had plans for 20 years on how we could put a drainage system in Pinewood Garden. But we have these members of parliament who have these documents, would not enforce them. And the only time they talk is when the flooding happened, and then it's a national issue. So that's why we need local government. So that when the politicians them are sitting in parliament discussing and traveling, we have a mandate to go in the inner city community and Pinewood Gardens and stuff like that and address the problem and bring it to the parliamentarian that we have this plan, we need to enforce this, we need to fix this. So to make sure that it don't lose track, that the member of parliament for Pinewood Garden doesn't lose track, okay? That he stays committed. And the road work and the implementation of the drains will be ongoing until it is finished. And then you still can make some amendments to it. So that's why we need local government to work directly with the MP. But that's the local government I want. So when I speak on the fact of the work that I did in Grandstand and still doing in the Lower Street and Hay Street area. Now, I'm not rich, okay? I know a lot of rich, powerful people, but I don't beg them. I ask them for small things that is going to benefit our community. So I'd like to give a shout out to Brand Simonet and his wife, Robin Simonet, to the Malis, to the Moscows, okay, to the Bacardi, to the Pritchett's, to the Dorsets, okay, for all those who support me in my endeavor to make my community and the Bahamas a better and safer place. Local government people, I want to say this to each and every one of them. Your MP who resides in your community, whether you're a PLP or whether you're an MP, he cannot fulfill the needs of your community. You're always going to be in this position where you get flooded, okay? But if you put local government and you work together, like what that girl said, that young lady, she's smart, she said, you know what? We need to get together and sue the company that built the homes in Pinewood Garden for the flooding. And she was correct. She was correct. And that's where local government they come in. All right? Local government is the way if you want to see change in the country. So I'm Valentino Braun, host of the talk show Inside the Inner City. I'll see you next week on Guardian Radio. Mr. Thompson, to my friend Elroy, to each and every one of you who listen to the show, who call in, you guys did a wonderful job. And listen, I have done things for this country, non-paid. Great ideas. Money are being put into government that is going on right now. That's me. But I don't like to talk about things. But when I'm on the show, I just want the show to be in people that you could do big things in this country if you believe in God, believe in yourself, and stay on the course of righteousness. Okay? For the less fortunate. Because the Father said, if you do for the least, he's talking with the poor, he's talking with the baby, he's talking with the old, and he's talking with the needy. You do unto me. Valentino Braun signing out. See you next week on Inside the Inner City on Guardian Radio. Bless up, my boy Elroy.